My dear elegant ladies, welcome to a new video. Ladies, today I'm going to give you those top 5 dating lessons that we can learn from Charlotte York in Sex and the City. Because you know what? After all, she was the best of the entire bunch in terms of dating strategy, especially if we compare it to Carrie Bradshaw. Now ladies, let's start immediately with dating lesson number 1, and I'm actually gonna watch it together with you as we rock and roll throughout this video.
Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to go mingle because there are a lot of cute guys here and these things never last beyond 2 martinis.
Charlotte was running her own campaign. She was determined to be elected wife before the year was out.
Okay, so what happened in that video? Charlotte is being very strategic. She's also on a mission of finding a husband, and she's determined, she's proactive, and she is a true go-getter. And this is actually not the only time we will see in the series where she has these qualities, and she shows them quite a lot throughout the series. Well, when she's single. What I really like about this quality in Charlotte, and that's something that I do see many women who end up having success, is that they are go-getters too. They don't want to miss out on opportunities. They're going to be out there planting many seeds in order to harvest as many fruits as possible, you know? And this is really important because it's easy to lose the momentum, and it's easy to just stay at home and think that your Prince Charming is just going to come knocking on your door the same way, you know, the Uber Eats driver comes knocking on your door when you order your usual takeaway. But you know, it's not going to happen like that, ladies. You have to be out there. You have to put yourself out there. And I'm not saying now, okay, go all desperate on everybody and just be so obsessed about finding your future husband that you're just pushing it a little bit too far, and you can clearly see that you turned yourself into a hunter rather than a feminine lady who, you know, just meets her Prince Charming like that one day. But you know what? Okay, I need to make one thing very clear for you, and that is, we meet our Prince Charming just you know, like that one day after we have planted many seeds out there. But we plant them, you know, in elegant ways, in discreet ways. Charlotte, although she's incredibly proactive throughout the series, she's never all over the place looking desperate and looking tacky or as if she's trying too hard. No, she keeps her elegant aura. She keeps her momentum going, and she's never too much. And I definitely want you to pay attention to that because truly, she is great when it comes to strategizing. You will see that in those episodes when she's single, it's really a lot about her strategies, trying to find a husband because she's so determined, she's on the mission, and I love the fact that she just keeps her focus on her goal. The same way, ladies, you should be doing it. Now let's look at dating lesson number 2 from my dear elegant Charlotte York.
Oh my god, so cute. Cute, right? Very cute. And let's not forget, I'm a professional.
I have to meet him. How am I gonna meet him?
That's what you got here 10 minutes ago. Pace yourself.
Okay, I need to just pause there for a second because you see again, Charlotte is already being like, okay, strategizing within herself, analyzing, okay, I want to meet this guy. How am I going to meet him? How am I going to do it? Blah, blah, blah. She's not throwing herself at him. And you're going to see now in the rest of the clip, she's absolutely not doing that. She's still staying in her feminine energy. She's still being very discreet. But obviously, behind the scenes, to your girlfriend, it's okay to say exactly how it is. We all do that as long as we don't make it obvious in the moment of whatever moment it is that we're in, right? And this is again another example of how proactive she is. Anyway, I want to show you actually now the rest of the clip.
Hey, beautiful. I'm JJ. Can I buy those sweet lips a drink?
I'm sorry. We were just leaving.
Okay, just needed to pause once more because here comes a creep, and we all know the feeling when a creep comes knocking and wasting our time when we are there trying to find the man that we really want to find. And she doesn't dismiss him in an unpolite way, and that's something I do like Charlotte, that she keeps herself elegant at all times. She's being polite even though she's clearly not interested. And this is a great example of how you set elegant boundaries. You set clear boundaries. Oh, I'm so sorry, we're just leaving. But you know, in a very kind and sweet way. She's not being rude at all at this point.
Charlotte was a firm believer in the laws of dating feng shui. Change location, change luck.
Pausing again, this is another great example of re-strategizing. So initially, she was there in the bar area, but clearly that positioning did not work out. And instead of being stuck with this JJ creep all night, being too afraid of being impolite, that it kind of becomes on the expense of yourself in that way. And that's something, ladies, you really need to pay attention to. Don't let anything be on the expense of yourself just because you don't know how to say no. You don't want to waste your time with a creep like that. And you see that Charlotte, she's determined to be on this mission to maybe meet somebody at this bar. So, great way to do so is to re-strategize. And how do we re-strategize? We relocate. Great example of Charlotte York of how to, she had her initial strategy, it didn't work out, so she re-strategized and just moved around in the bar to get rid of that guy.
Why is it always a guy like that? Is it me? No, sweetie, it's not you. Into every life, a little JJ must fall. I just want a nice, sweet, handsome, funny, great guy who doesn't say things like sweet lips. Is that too much to ask?
Hey! You didn't leave, you're just over here now. Come on, let me buy you a drink.
I'm really not interested.
One drink, I'll even buy Blondie here one.
Okay, so here we pause again because clearly this creep did not give up, and now Charlotte is not going to just pull a little white lie and say, oh, we're just leaving. Now she's setting firmer boundaries, but still not in a rude way. She's not going bitchy on him. She's just saying, kindly, I'm not interested. And, she says it with compassion and sincerity, and this is very important. You don't have to turn yourself into this type of thing. You can actually be kind, you can be polite, you can, express something, a firm no with compassion. And that's what elegance and manners is.
One little drink. Excuse me. She said she's not interested. Am I talking to you? No. Come on, Doc. You're not listening. The lady said that she's not... Oh! Sorry about that.
Did you hurt your hand?
No.
His name was Arthur. He was a nice, sweet, handsome, funny, great investment banker who lived between Madison and Fifth. So maybe there really were white knights.
Okay, ladies, so what happened there? Quite a lot. It was actually funny, she ended up attracting a second creep, although packaged in a very different way. But what I wanted to really give you an example of here is how Charlotte naturally steps into her femininity. I mean, okay, I'm not saying that this scene was correct and that this Arthur guy was somebody to write home about, no. But here we can clearly see that, she automatically, goes gentle and asks, did you hurt your hand? And then when he presents herself to her, she's like, And listen, ladies, I'm not saying you always have to put on charades like that, but this just gives you an example of how feminine energy works. Allow the man to step in with his masculinity. Don't be all, when you are there because to try and somehow prove your own value or put on some role that you are, Mrs. Cool or something. Allow yourself to be a woman. It's okay that when a man steps in very strongly as a man, you step in very softly as a woman. But okay, maybe this wasn't the best example because here we're talking about somebody punching somebody, which I hope none of you are going to have to experience, unless that person deserved it. Dating lesson number 3, ladies. This is one of my personal favorites, something that I used to do as well back in the days as single. Now, let's have a look.
I have so many dates this week that I just scheduled 2 in one night.
You double booked?
Well, I had to. This one guy was going out of town for 3 weeks, and the other guy didn't want to cancel.
So how do you conceive pulling this one off?
Early dinner with bachelor number 1, late supper with bachelor number 2.
My God, you're turning into a man.
Apparently, Charlotte had done more than break a pattern. She had actually changed genders.
I just don't know how I'm ever going to eat 2 dinners in a row.
And then, just like that, she was a woman again.
Okay, ladies, first things first. Why is it so that men can double book themselves on days and, meet multiple women in a day, which men do? Let's be honest here. Ask around in your circle of male friends and you're going to see that this actually does happen. And men are pretty relaxed about it. There's nothing wrong with that. And why not multiply your chances type of thing, right? But as soon as a woman does it, it's like a woman, would she double book? Okay, I can't say any profanity, but you know what some people call a woman, a slut maybe. And that's something that, my dear elegant feminist ladies, stop falling for that manipulation and for that agenda. I personally do believe that double booking yourself with men sometimes is very efficient and very clever, especially in times of online dating. Because with online dating, it is already hard to know who is going to be your cup of tea, etc. For us women, because we're not as visual as men, it's hard for us to just know that, okay, this man and this man are from, let's say, Match.com or whatever website it is that you're using. I'm going to really like him because I like the way he looks. For men, this is how it is. For them, it's all visual, and based on the visual, and of course a few other qualities, that's when they decide to proceed or not proceed. But for us women, we really need to kind of feel something. And usually it's just some form of intuition, chemistry, I don't know. It's some form of feeling that we can only get when we meet the person in real life. And it's so hard for us to understand from an online dating profile if this is going to be the guy that you're going to feel something or not for. Do you see what I mean? So for this reason, I do believe that in order to plant as many seeds as possible so that you can harvest as many seeds as possible, it's incredibly important to just meet as many men as you possibly can. And I'm not necessarily saying now go and sleep with everybody or go on these dinner dates. No. Sometimes just going on a quick coffee is enough for that initial meeting. But now I'm only referring to online dating. Of course, if you have met, men through other ways, then I wouldn't necessarily recommend a coffee date. You definitely then want them to make the effort of taking you out properly. But for online dating, it's actually important to work in high quantities there. And I'm speaking from experience because most of the men you're going to meet from online are not going to be men that you ever want to meet again. So don't book yourself up on a long dinner, you know what I mean? I mean, unless you're really hungry and you really just want to eat for free or something like that. Although there are some men who will expect you to pay 50-50, which is crazy. But anyway, just to summarize, I think that what Charlotte did here, even though I know in this episode it actually backfired on her, but she did a great dating strategy. She didn't hold back. She was being proactive and efficient and not wasting her time because she wanted to be elected wife ASAP, and this is how it was going to happen, by working in high quantities. Now let's watch dating lesson number 4.
I want to help out with the campaign.
Since when are you interested in politics?
Always. It's a really great way to meet men. And with Carrie by our side, we can just get to meet the inner circle and all the really interesting donors.
By interesting men, she means single and rich.
Well, guys.
Yes, actually, Miranda, you are right. By interesting men, we mean single and rich. That's just how we roll. And I like the fact that Charlotte actually doesn't allow herself to be kind of judged. She just makes this kind of funny face and like, yeah, Miranda, whatever, that's my thing, and so on, and get on with it. Obviously, Miranda is the opposite. In my personal opinion, I do believe that when you have set these goals for yourself of what type of man you want to attract, let's say you want to attract a very affluent man, somebody who is rich, somebody who is high status. Don't be apologetic about it. That's your choice. You have the right to be with whatever man you want to be with. Don't let anybody question you. Don't let anybody change your opinion. Don't let anybody divert you. And Charlotte also knows that she can get a man like that. And that gives me another point to actually discuss here, because you need to really feel within your core that you can be with a man like that, and that there is nothing wrong for you to get a man like that, that you are on his level. Like, she's not shying away from the political circle or the high status circle that they are discussing in this clip, because she doesn't think of her any less. And that, ladies, is essential when you strategize your dating game. You cannot think that you don't deserve this man, or you are not on his level, or he's too good for you, or this and that, because if that's your thoughts, well, you're never going to attract that type of man. And you're always going to, keep attracting the lower kind because that's where you feel comfortable with. You need to get comfortable with the high level man that you want to attract. But I do like her whole mindset in this clip because she's just like creatively thinking outside the box. Okay, where can I meet high status men? The type of man that I wish to attract. And I have actually put together a list where to meet the elite. It's a free cheat sheet with over 200 places where you can actually meet these type of people. So it's going to give you loads of ideas where to go. So just go to millionaireplaces.com and download this free cheat sheet. Now, ladies, we have reached the last dating lesson. Well, actually not the real last, because I have a sixth one that you will get on my Instagram account. So hop over to Anna Bay on Instagram and you can see the additional tip from Charlotte York on dating on my Instagram. Okay, ladies, let's see tip number 5, because I actually did want to save the best for last.
I'm nice, and I'm pretty, and I'm smart. I'm a catch. You know what? I'm gonna meet the perfect guy, and I'm gonna get married. Woo! You hear that, New York? I'm getting married this year! I'm getting married, and here I come!
Sorry, it's so hilarious because, Charlotte is drunk here, okay? Which is kind of cute in her way because she's not a sloppy drunk, she's just a happy drunk. But even though I'm including a scene when she's drunk, the whole point of this is how important this mindset is. The fact that she says that she's a catch, she's gonna get married this year, and it just affirmates for herself how she deserves this, what she's after, and of course her own value. People think that this whole affirmation thing is some hoo-hoo ha-ha, but it's really not. It wires you to believe certain thing and to give you this kind of boost of maybe it's confidence, maybe it's self-love, maybe it's other things. You need to really feel that you are a catch. And you really need to tell yourself that, because sometimes we meet men that we think that, okay, well, maybe I should just go with him, maybe. I know I deserve more, but okay. And you know what the problem with that is that we actually end up downgrading ourselves sometimes when we think that we kind of think that we deserve more, but we don't tell ourselves that strongly enough, that we set that boundaries like, no, I am not going to go with this guy because I know I can get that guy that I really want to get. But sometimes we instead end up like wandering off with that average Joe, because in the moment we just don't think that we can get that high level Arthur that we were really interested in. Okay, I'm not saying the Arthur that actually punched somebody, but you know what I mean. Please, ladies, tell yourself every day that you are a catch, and that you are amazing, and that you deserve to be with the man that you want to be with. Now, you're not going to be Little Miss Perfect, and neither are you ever going to meet the Mr. Perfect, but you can meet the type of man that you want to meet, and that's simply if you have the right mindset for it. So, ladies, I hope you have enjoyed this video. I do have another video in my Sex and the City series that I'm doing now on YouTube. So if you hop over now to top 10 timeless fashion outfits from Sex and the City, you're going to get loads of fashion inspirations from the best outfits that I have picked from the series. So enjoy that video, because I will see you there.